So if you've paid attention to politics at all over the course of the time that Donald Trump has been in office, or even been on the scene as a public figure, you will have noticed a couple of things. Hypocrisy, which is really nothing new for Republicans, but also they're bringing art to life and creating a reality that is idiocracy. A couple of months ago, I think it was a couple months ago, Brian Glenn, the boyfriend of Marjorie Taylor Greene, man, he's really taking one for the team, is he not? He was in the Oval Office, you know, at this high-level meeting between sovereigns of nations, and he asked one of the most poignant questions ever asked of a man who is in the midst of defending his country against the onslaught of a murderous dictator in Vladimir Putin. He asked Volodymyr Zelensky, "Do you even own a suit?" All of this will make sense after we play the clip.
Second question. My second question for President Zelensky. No. Why don't you wear a suit? Why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest level in this country's office and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see if do you own a suit?
Yeah, problems.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not respecting
I don't have such.
office.
I will wear a costume after this war will finish.
Okay.
Yes, maybe one.
Maybe something like
yours.
yes.
Maybe something better. I don't know. We will see. Maybe something cheaper than. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, joining me today is none other than the illustrious and hard-working man, Matt Strackbein from the Letterhack. Matt, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, obviously, you follow politics. You do a live stream multi-time. How many times a week are you live on YouTube?
Monday through Friday, 5 days a week.
I thought it was like twice. Yeah, you are the hardest working man in infotainment.
Maybe.
So you've invariably seen this clip. You understand the context here that MAGA world went wild when that question was asked, and they were harumph, beside themselves with grief and dismay and apoplectic over the concept of someone not wearing a suit in the Oval Office while ignoring Elon Musk wearing his cartoonish 10-gallon MAGA hats, or Kellyanne Conway on her knees on a sofa in the Oval Office, or Elon Musk again not wearing a suit and his hat indoors. None of this seems to bother MAGA world. And earlier with CPAC, I did a comparison between, I think I've got both pictures here, of Elon Musk holding his chainsaw, we'll put these on screen, and then President Dwayne Elizondo Mountain Dew Herbert Camacho with his saw, M249, his weapon of war. And these comparisons, I know they're made in jest, but really we have descended into a time in American politics where this is normal and doesn't seem to be a problem. Have you noticed this art imitating life, or now life imitating art, with your observations of politics?
Unfortunately, yes. As much as I want to have the narrative stay focused on actual policy and things that will improve people's lives, it only becomes more ridiculous every step of the way. Here they are doing something with bipartisan support, ending price gouging of ticket sales and stuff like that, and they can't help but distract from that with this new level of ridiculousness. And it's unfortunate. It's cringy, for one, but it's unfortunate that the first thing people think of is a comedy movie.
Yeah. Well, you led me there. The hypocrisy continues, and that is this executive order. You can't really hide anything on YouTube. Everybody saw the thumbnail. They know what the video's about. So everybody knew of what was coming next. And that is Kid Rock, again, playing into the idiocracy and the hypocrisy of no outrage for his clown suit that he wore in the Oval Office. Not just in the Oval Office, but leaning over on the resolute desk, very comfortable in this space that is reserved for reverence. Here is he and Donald Trump in the Oval Office before Donald Trump signed an executive order about, like you said, price gouging, which on its face, great. I'll ask some questions, but we'll do it on the other side of the clip.
a friend of mine, Kid Rock, sometimes referred to as Bob. I know him as Bob, but he's been a good friend for a long time, many years, and he's been after something that is for the good of a lot of people, including, in particular, the public, and having to do with ticket sales and scalping and all of the gouging that you have been reading about. That's gotten worse and worse with time. And I didn't know too much about it, but I checked it out, and it is a big problem. And I thought, I think you've been trying to get this done for 20 years or something. He said Trump got it done in 2 weeks. But we came up with a very serious EO, and I'm going to sign it now, and maybe I'll ask you, Will, to explain a little bit about it, please.
Of course, sir. So this is an executive order, as you said, that deals with the ticket reselling business. For fans of live entertainment and for entertainers as well, the ticket reselling industry has become a huge issue. These people use bots and computer algorithms to buy up huge blocks of tickets and then jack up the price so that fans of live entertainers like Mr. Ritchie, I almost called him Mr. Rock, don't have access to concerts the way that they should. And when they do, it's at exorbitantly high prices. So what this executive order does, it charges the FTC and the Department of Justice with rigorously enforcing laws on the books in collaboration with state attorneys general that have power over consumer protection and other people who have the power to really crack down on this issue so that entertainers and fans won't be subject to these abusive and oftentimes illegal practices.
Good. Thank you very much. Bob, you want to say something?
So, other than the fact that Congress is in control, both the House and the Senate are in control of Republicans, they could write legislation to do this. Donald Trump continues to rule by executive order, something in the hypocrisy strain of this. He bemoaned that Obama did, and he bemoaned that Joe Biden did. Very, very bothered by all of the executive orders, and yet he does the same thing. The hypocrisy for me really is the fact that MAGA world is either too stupid to think it's a problem or knows it's a problem and doesn't care that Kid Rock is wearing his freak show suit inside the Oval Office while they all went apoplectic over the fact that Volodymyr Zelensky didn't. Where does hypocrisy fall for you? For me, it's a harbinger of other things, but where does it fall for you on a level of things to be concerned about?
Well, okay, so first of all, I think that the president of Ukraine is owed an apology for a lot of reasons, but after seeing, Kid Rock's $2 Evel Knievel get up, it's obvious who the more disrespectful or who the more disrespectful person was in terms of outfits worn to the White House. That look may be in line with, Kid Rock's whole overly patriotic persona. But if you're going to make your own clothes, at least learn how to sew. And look, by the way, the flag has 13 stripes, not literally however many you want it to have. So it wasn't even accurate. And MAGA loves to push the limits of what they call American greatness, quote unquote. And it often borders on clownish. But the only thing missing from this bespangled clown is a big red nose. And for a second there, when I was watching this video, I thought that Trump had already declared himself American king and he was doing tryouts for the American court gesture.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, but taking on a problem like price gouging, which, like I said, has, bipartisan support, still does not excuse that outfit. And, as they're issuing travel warnings to the U.S. around the rest of the world, I kind of have to think that maybe Kid Rock's outfit is just one more reason to stay away from here. It's definitely not something that would attract people here. But I really hope that people don't let this move, which, okay, it seems good, right? As long as Doge and the administration are sending the country down the drain, I actually do wish more Trump sycophants would use him to do useful things like this. But I really hope that it doesn't let I don't want this move to distract people from the fact that Trump is committing one atrocity after another, dismantling the Department of Education, deporting hundreds of people without due process, gutting federal jobs, Social Security, all the other horrendous things that, Doge and Musk and Trump are doing in the first 100 days. And, you know, to me, it's like I said, they're constantly distracting from like something that they could be applauded for. But on the other hand, it doesn't discount all of the other things that are going wrong.
Yeah, it seems that this is like an attempt at cosmetic surgery. It's like getting a filler when you have cancer inside you. That this is just to cover up the disease that's inside. It is. I mean, look, it's unavoidable. The continued comparisons of President, I write his name next to so many things. Yeah. President Dwayne Elizondo Mountain Dew Herbert Camacho. I mean, it's the same thing we're doing here. Again, in MAGA world, I think that MAGA world is so stupid that they love it. They actually think, yeah, this is great. Look at this. But for me, there's no greater metaphor in this entire episode yesterday in the Oval Office than this particular photo that I found on Getty, which is a close-up of Kid Rock, and behind him in focus is the giant map, a la when Donald Trump added with the Sharpie the path of the hurricane. It's the map of Gulf of America behind, like you said, the bespangled moron, I call him moron, Kid Rock, leaning on the Resolute desk in his freak show suit. It's a question I keep asking is, what have we done? What have we done to ourselves? What have we done to the office of President of the United States? And people are proud of this transition. They're proud of abandoning norms and ignoring the Constitution and ignoring the fact that Donald Trump has declared himself through a White House declaration on Twitter to be a king.
Yeah, and it's a lack of prioritizing. They're misprioritizing what, policy over things that benefit their pals and their cronies like Musk. I think that, we're living in a time where people are judging what is and what isn't American, or said better, what is anti-American on a case-by-case basis. And I think that says a lot for the logic at play here overall. People are just making this up as they go. They're deciding what works and what doesn't work, what's acceptable and what's unacceptable. And that leaves the rest of us in the lurch and wondering, what are we going to be called out for next? But you're right. If you have any respect for the office and there's any sort of dignity that goes along with being the president, it's slipping away very, very quickly if it hasn't already.
Well, listen, I want to give you an opportunity to say what you do. Let me say this. Let me kiss your ass a little bit.
Okay.
Your channel, you and your channel punch above its weight. I don't think you even have 10,000 subscribers. You have criminally under sub channel, maybe the most in the history of YouTube, because you've had huge guests. You've had Sam Cedar on. You've had major guests in this space in politics on your show. I've been on your show a couple times. We've gotten friendly. I'm just super impressed by the work you do. Where can people find you?
You can find me at youtube.com/theletterhack. I'm on Monday through Friday. I do 3 primetime shows and 2 morning shows. And you're right, I am sort of out there quite a bit. I'm doing everything I can to keep certain issues in the spotlight, to advocate for certain policy. And I have a wide variety of candidates, online media figures, academics, artists, activists, anybody who wants to come on the show and talk about something that is meaningful to what is going on in this country and in this world is welcome to. It's an interview show, but we talk a lot about art.
And even dumb shits comics. Like me.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, especially people like you. And I can't say enough. Thank you so much for coming on my show and for having me on. It's really important that we support each other, but especially larger channels supporting smaller channels.
I believe that too. I think that there's a lot of lessons that were learned after the election. This is something we're still kind of analyzing and grappling with. And I want to lift voices that are doing good work, doing the hard work and doing it well. And you're certainly one of them, Matt. I appreciate your effort and what you do very much. And the fact that it's very clear you really care about making things better. And I don't think we can ask for anything more than that. So If I would recommend everybody go subscribe to Matt's channel, The Letterhack. He's a talented art. You didn't even mention the fact that you're like a bananas artist either. You're too humble, man. You're too humble.
I occasionally will draw my guests while I interview them, and the rest of the time I'm just drawing live on stream if I don't have anything to talk about. But you know, I will have guests on in those cases, so it's not just me. It's I'm filling the blanks.
Well, thanks. We killed a tree with all the printing today. I appreciate your participation here in this conversation. I would ask everybody else, if you have something to say about this, you can comment below. You can also call the voicemail line 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can send an email the old-fashioned way to daily@dollemore.com. Please consider supporting this work. You can click the join button below, become a channel member, or go to my Patreon page. But most importantly today, go subscribe to Matt's channel, The Letterhack. We need to diversify our progressive media diets, our independent media diets, our non-corporate media diets. And that is the first step in doing so, is reaching out and checking out other voices. And Matt's is a fantastic one. Anyway, I love and appreciate you guys. Thanks you, Matt, for joining me today. We'll see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.